Alright.
I see you there. I'm ready when you are.
Alrighty. I think I've got it. Oh, let me pop out my flash cockpit so I can see it. Oh, wait a minute. I'm not quite there. Just a second. Alright. Oh, wrong way. I guess I'm gonna put my feet on the pedals, huh? Alright, I'm ready. There we go. Yeah, the fuel thing is a little bit crazy. I'm really surprised that they haven't addressed that.
Yeah, it's such a big problem on the long trips, you know. And I got to
Well,
think that the less experienced folks who, are maybe doing this for the first time, they're not thinking about leading the mixture or any of that. So they're
yeah,
just going full rich everywhere.
probably full throttle.
Yeah, that's it.
Probably the worst fuel economy they could get. Let's say. I have no idea where we're going, really. Following the bouncing ball. We are supposed to go through that. Sort of the waypoint doesn't really show it that way.
Earlier today, I was out further west on the chain, and they definitely doctored up the scenery for this trip. Because when you go further west, it's like it's X-Plane 11 style. There's really nothing there.
I was wondering. I was like, you know what? I imagine it's kind of like their discovery flights.
Yeah,
They're gonna show. I don't blame them. They're gonna show off the best of their, you know. But yeah, I kind of had a feeling they might have touched up a couple of, like that starting airport. Just it looked too good to be out of town.
yeah, definitely.
Whiz, hey. There's somebody behind us. Like I said, I don't think he'll see us. Well, actually, I don't think we'll see him if he doesn't have the multiplayer. I don't. We ought to try that. How do
Yeah.
you even? I guess you can turn multiplayer off entirely.
I'm guessing one of the reasons that they made that switch is because of the Japan experience. Right when that update came out, I, like everyone else, I jumped in there. I wanted to go fly that whole Japan thing, and there was like 500 airplanes in the air. It was insane.
Well, that's what I figure. I kind of figure it's a performance issue. You know, if you do the missions and they have that disabled, yeah, you're going to have better performance while you do these showcase, missions. That's kind of what I was saying about they might have touched these specific ones up because this is kind of a way to showcase the stuff.
My performance was good. I got a big old monster machine here that was doing just fine. But I mean, there was just planes like 10 times more than what you see on one of our nights out. It was just airplanes in every direction and all kinds. Because a lot of people knew, they weren't necessarily doing the mission or the bush trip. But they knew the route. So there was 7.4s and A320s, and it's just every kind of plane, every which way. And it was kind of crazy. It was hard to concentrate, honestly.
Okay. So you had all the people trying to actually do the mission, and then all the other people just goofing around, messing with them.
Yeah. And then I wasn't smart enough to think, well, I could just change servers. I could go to some obscure server where there's nobody, and then that'd be fine.
Yeah, that's always something you think about after the fact, right?
Yeah. I was chatting with Carbon a little bit earlier today, asking how far we could possibly stretch the fuel performance on this build, because I want to take it out to 1,700 nautical miles, and we might be able to do that. It might be a second ox tank. He says there are 2 ox tanks available for inside the airplane in real life, so he's going to check that out tomorrow.
Well, also, I mean, he hasn't even looked, and I've mentioned it to him. I mean, in fact, let's see if I have it. I know I do. In my airplane, I have an ox tank you can put under it, a belly tank.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then, so then you have the 20-gallon or 25 in the back seat, which is also, I mean, I'll show you. These are legit, actual real world kind of thing. But wrong drive. And yeah, that's the one I use. I don't use his. I use the belly tank. That way I don't have to worry about having a second person, if I, RPG kind of whatever. So I don't know what I'm thinking. That'll get you about 15. Is just in my head kind of close. Oh, it's in the. Guess I better watch where I'm going. It's in the pad, the config pad, performance pad, not the other one.
He, of course, wanted to know why I was wanting to stretch the airplane. And, so I shared it with him, and I don't know if this is ever going to be possible, but it was just something that I've been thinking about for a bit. And so I'm going to go back and do a little storytelling. My wife is Dominican. I met her when I was based in San Juan, Puerto Rico. She was also based there. And, she, ended up coming home with me, and we got married. Has been a good deal for a long time. She's awesome. But anyways, we were in D.C. I lived just outside Washington, we went to the Air and Space, of course. I mean, you have to. If you're anything interested in airplanes or aviation, you have to go. So we went, and I'd been there many times before, but it was her first time. So you walk in, and one of the first things you see is the Spirit of St. Louis hanging there. And as you look up from the floor, you can see clearly there's a bunch of flags on that front right cowling. And then, you walk up to the balcony and you get a slightly better look at it. So we were standing up there, and right in front of us is the X-15, and then over, top of it, I'm sure you've been there, you've seen the pictures of it. And over top of the X-15 is the Spirit of St. Louis, and she's really scrutinizing it. And all of a sudden she starts tugging on my arm. She's like, "Oh my God, mira, there's a Dominican flag on it." I'm like, "There is not. What are you talking about?" And sure enough, one of the flags on the cowling of the Spirit of St. Louis is the Dominican flag. And I was like, what the hell? I mean, I knew there were flags on there, but I never really paid any attention to it. I figured they were just whatever, European. So I started investigating a little, thank God for Google and the Smithsonian. So after Lindbergh's miraculous flight, and it really was miraculous when you consider that he was dead reckoning going on a whiskey compass and nothing else. He didn't know how to do celestial now, and he just got lucky on the winds. I mean, he got blown north of course on part of it, and then he got blown south of course on part of it, and they equaled out, so it was like a zero wind flight. I mean, just the odds of that, all that lining up were just spectacular. I mean, he never should have made it, but he did. And so anyways, after that flight, he did a United States tour, and he didn't hit, I don't think he hit all 50 states, but he went all around the country everywhere with the Spirit of St. Louis, and big crowds and stuff. And then after that, on behalf of the State Department and a friend, he did a Latin American tour, and that's where all those flags are from. The first leg of that tour departed on December 13th, 1927 from Bolling Air Force Base in Washington, D.C. And he flew nonstop to Mexico City, 1,631 miles, point to point. He flew a little more because he got lost. Because, like I said, he couldn't actually navigate.
That actually probably happened a lot more than the history books tell you about.
Yep. So that was a 27-hour flight, and he landed in Mexico City 2.5 hours late, after his proposed time. And so that's the hump, is that first leg from DC nonstop down to Mexico City. It'll be about 25 hours. The Spirit of St. Louis actually cruised about the same as this thing does. Did about 110 indicated, and up to, he could go a little higher. He could go 118, 120 for a little bit, but he kept it pulled back for fuel most of the time.
That's
anyways. Yes, sir.
I threw those in voice text. A couple of links for the tanks.
Okay, thank you. So after Mexico City, the legs are much more manageable. It's a publicity tour, so he's only flying 2.5 hours a day, all down through Central and South America, and then back up the Lesser Antilles and the Caribbean, from Curacao up to St. Lucia and Canouan, all the way up to San Juan, then over to Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic. He touched down in Haiti. And I think he came back to Cuba, and then from Havana he was going to go direct to St. Louis, and got lost again. both of his compasses failed, and he ended up flying 90 degrees to his intended course for hours. He was 300 miles off course, and he finally realized he was over the Bahamas, and had to make a huge course correction. So anyways, long story longer, maybe we can put something together to shadow that trip. I don't think too many people are going to be down for a 27-hour or 25-hour flight, but I'll do it if the airplane will do it, and if we can't, then I'll just start it from Mexico City.
I could do it. I mean, the best way to do it might be to start it, you know, in the evening or some afternoon or something. You know,
Yeah.
at some point you can put it on
Put it on
remote.
auto and go to bed, huh?
Yeah, that might be a chintzy way to do it, but yeah. Well, it and if you look at the turtle pack one, the one that he kind of emulates in the thing already. If you had that, and those come in different sizes and shapes, this thing does have a cargo. I mean, that one would go in the back seat, and then they do have a cargo spot behind the back seat that you could get another 20-gallon one or whatever. If you all you'd have to do is find the right shape and size. So yeah,
Yeah, that's what Cartman was saying, and I don't know how
but
much
you can
Lindbergh weighed, but I don't. He didn't look like a very big man. He was tall, but he was skinny as a rail. So if I could find out what his actual body weight was, just use that as the pilot weight.
but you can only use two auxiliary tanks, so that that might be. And the underbelly one's not enough. You'd have to have two of the 25 plus ones. So yeah, you could look at that turtle pack. They might have one that would go in the cargo bay legitimately. You know, those are ferry tanks. You know, when you I mean, where was it? Ice Pilots. I saw them use one. They bought some airplane in Russia and had to get it back, and they had a huge one in the back, and it was like
No kidding.
3 foot tall, 8x8, 6x8, 6x6.
Oh my gosh, like a fuel truck.
Yeah, well, it was just a big bladder, a big balloon in the back of this cargo craft that they bought. It's all strapped down and everything. Oh wait, I'm not paying attention here. That's our airport right up there. Which way's the wind blowing? Wasn't even paying attention, but I dove the right way, I guess. That might be a Bush-style airport. Is that it? That looks like it.
Yeah. This is our last stop?
No. We got
Okay.
1, 2, at least 3 more after this. Oh wait, I was thinking it was just a turn at first, but no, it's a leg.
There's 2 airports here.
Are there 2?
500.
I think the other one's a road.
Yeah, you're right. That stuff at the end I thought maybe looked like hangars.
Yeah, it's got the same kind of like a parking area or something, a terminal area. I'm cheating with a little nav, of course. Little bounce. My first actual landing tonight. I don't
testing
mind.
me.
I don't.
You're testing me. I gotta try and land and not hit you.
Oh, I didn't think to go long, did I? I'm so not used to having somebody do these with me. It's pretty cool.
There we go.
Yeah, I reset everything.
No, that kill switch on the flaps to retract all at once, that thing, it's going to be the key to.
I'm gonna have to try that because that is a good idea. I mean, I've done it manually since he said that, and yeah, it even just doing it with my click helps. But boy, if I could go all the way rather than 3 steps, that'd be a little easier.
Don't tell anybody my secret now.
waypoint's taking us way out, but it looks to me like we're more or less wanting to just follow this. We can go right over the mountain and we can go around it. Let's go around it. The next airport, literally. No, that's not okay. That one is not an airport. It goes right over it, but that's not the airport.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but I think you got a notch of class in still.
I do. Shit, no wonder I'm not going anywhere.
500.
Where's that after takeoff list? Thank you there, co-pilot. You're like, why are we going this way? The files here. I'm just throwing the terrible at timing.
Yeah, I'm not so hot either. Especially when I'm a couple cocktails into it.
Yeah, nowadays people have grown up with laptops in their, in their lap. I took a typing course in junior high or something. That was kind of like playtime for us. Didn't matter if you failed it, right?
Yeah, nobody took it seriously. Yeah.
Right, it's like Hoback. Nobody took that serious.
That's a little airport there.
I know. Yeah. I was thinking that the route goes right over it, but it's not a point. Doesn't mean we can't land it. Less than 1,000 feet with the little nav max says.
It's got gas. I mean, if you ever find yourself out here again.
That's nice for them.
Terminal reminds me of Canawan. It's just a little tiny building. You could maybe put 10 people inside.
yeah, for getting like that long, you're probably best bet is to use two interior tanks because, like I say, we're limited on the auxiliary switches. And actually, I'll bet I could figure out how to add. Well, I mean, in other words, it's something about the switching.
Well, the other thing I could do, and it's probably cheating a little bit, but just to make it happen, is put in a 30 or 40 knot tailwind the whole way down.
Yeah, I mean, you could also just do. Okay, I guess we're doing a bit of water crossing. You could also do it in air refuel, but I'm like you. I would, you could certainly do it. I mean, in other words, you can go in that performance mod and add two auxiliary tanks of however size you need. Really, it's a virtual system.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, the Spirit St. Louis was a one-of-a-kind airplane.
Actually, if you had two, like a 20 behind the seat and 25 in the seat, I think that'd get you right around 1,700. I did a quick calculation at this thing with the auxiliary is supposed to get around just under around 1,000 miles. So, okay. I subtracted from that and came up with about 800 or whatever. So 7, that means you're gaining about 300. Now that's still, you'd have to have some big tanks. I don't know. I don't remember. I did some math and came up with like 14 to 1,500 with both the auxiliary and the belly tank. That's 18. So if you had two 25 tanks, I think that'd get you real close to the 1,700.
Yeah, I can't imagine Lindbergh went higher than 10,000, right? Because of the risk with hypoxia. I'm thinking he stayed low for a lot of the time.
I would think. So, I don't think they flew that high back then.
So if we planned it out for maybe 5,000 or 6,000 or 8,000 the most. Well, although actually on his, now that I think about it, on his transatlantic crossing, he was at 10,000, trying to stay above the weather. So he tried to stay visual as much as he could. He didn't want to get solid INC if he could avoid it. It's all he had were two compasses. There's nothing else. But yeah, I think if we planned it out for like 6,000 or 8,000 with a little bit of a tailwind and leaned all the way back as far as you can go and still have the airplane cruising at a decent speed, that might work. But then again, I'd hate to go like 20 hours and then have everybody crap out and crash in the ocean. That would not be fun.
That would not make you any friends.
Nope, definitely not. Sounds like I might have to test fly it once I get it all set up. See if it actually works before I draw other people into my madness.
grab some coffee before we make land here.
Roger that.
Alright, I didn't crash. Guess I should look at the map. It's just on the other side of this point, longest point. I turn left, cross the island, and then we hit Port Heldon. Give us any info. Hayden. I said it wrong. It's Bristol Bay, I guess. I've heard of that.
Oh, that is where Sarah Palin lives in real life, I think, was Bristol Bay.
I believe you're right. I think she was exaggerating, saying she could see them.
Just slightly.
And I think we're going to end up making this trip with the crew eventually. If you look on Bush, I think they're taking this northern pass across the Pacific to get back on their journey tour.
Oh, no kidding. That'll be fun. I'm thinking that'll be March, April.
Yeah, next year. They did it in a balloon in 80 days in the movie, going around. Or partly in a balloon. I'm hoping we have like a low valley. I'm thinking we should cross through here. See some triangles. My medium settings aren't loading in just right. Had to do a double take every time I look down and see the GPS numbers blank. It's supposed to be little numbers I can't read there. Over there. think that I'm not sure. They may have done this either just on a map. It looked like the channel was a little further over or something, but I'm guessing that's a pass right there off our left bow.
Yeah.
Left
I
nose.
think you're right.
That takes us
Well, we'll
all the way through, but it looks like the waypoints would run you right into the mountain. Either the maps they were looking at were a little skewed, or they did it on purpose so you couldn't use autopilot. Yeah, that. I can see either side of that mountain where I'm headed dead at, so I'm betting we can get around one side. Looks like the right side. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just a little off the track here.
Well, my money says to the right.
Yeah, it actually shows a little bit of a triangle out this way, but the waypoints seem to be a little bit west of where they should be. Maybe a little north.
And there's the bumps.
Went around the other side.
Yeah, it was just to your left a second ago on the other side. I turned on auto, and it's got me on a slow turn. I'm just a little bit west of course.
I'm kind of way off. I should be well to the right, probably.
Oh, there you are, 12 o'clock, crossing over to the left.
Yeah, there's 2 more waypoints, but we're headed for the mouth of this river, basically. Then we'll go down the coast to the right a little bit to the airport. And this is Crystal Bay, I guess. Seems like you're a long way off. I don't think you're as far off as it looks, but maybe. I guess I did go quite a way off, a mile off, so off the route. Had my map zoomed out too far. I didn't realize that.
Easy, I gotta run out for just a second. I got auto flying over here.
No problem. So.
Alright, sir, I'm back, and thank the good Lord, my first officer didn't kill us, so we're going.
Hey, welcome back.
Slightly bad news. My wife and I got our COVID test results back today, and we're still negative, which is good. But our son is still positive, which is bad. Poor guy's been locked up for like 8 days now in his room. And he's going to have to spend Thanksgiving in there too, and up until we're going to test again on Sunday and see if he doesn't. The thing is, he looks and feels fine, but they're still detecting it, so. That's our story. 2020's been quite the year.
Dang.
The autopilot works good when it works. The first time I turned on about 10 minutes ago, it had me all over the sky. I was like, what the? Like, ride the rodeo prong.
Alright, sorry, I was trying to type Jeb some instructions. He's trying to add a belly tank to his aircraft. I haven't explained to him yet that, yeah, it's a great little edit, but every time he updates the performance mod, I gotta save that file out and then recopy, in case he makes any changes.
Now, how can I put the aux tank back in, the one that we had? Because I really wanted to keep that, and I understand everybody else wanted it out, so it's gone. But how can I write that back in?
Okay, well, if you were to open the flight model config in the performance mod, and then go down to fuel, the fuel section, you'll see under left, they'll have some numbers. And basically, those numbers are the first three. Let's see, the first three are position, amount, and then unusable amount of fuel. And you'll see where he even left a some comment after the left aux, where it has 0000 at the end, and he has the numbers for the ferry time. Or for his ferry time. For mine, it would be a little bit different numbers. That's all it is.
Okay.
I can, as well as a matter of fact, I threw the text conversation or voice conversation there. I threw my my flight model config in there, and it's all notated. You can use this if you want to do that, and use that if you want to
Okay, cool, perfect.
But yeah, it probably, I mean, it might take some, a little bit of walking through it. But yeah, I can help you edit it.
Cool, thanks. I've downloaded it, saved it. I'll check it out a little bit later. Oh, I see it there. Okay. Left main, right main, center 1, center 2, and center 3. So it looks like they're spots for 3 aux things, right? So 3 center things.
There's several of them that are commented out. Any that have a slash or a semicolon, anything from that point on doesn't count. The program doesn't read it. Those are comment marks.
Oh, I see. Max 4, number of things selectors. Okay, got it.
But yeah, it's under the field. Right. See, I have, semicolon, semicolon, set for air glass, blah, blah, blah. And I have left aux and right aux swapped. In other words, for me, I've got the right aux as the ferry tank, where he was using the left aux. But that's kind of irrelevant. That doesn't matter to you. But in other words, right, that flight model will give you the belly tank by default. Now, I also did a few other things at the top under the weight and balance, like I added the weight for the 215 engine, and I added the weight for the cargo pod. But you don't necessarily have. And then I did a custom loadout, which all is.
That's really cool. I think you're right. I think you're pulling me down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, well, I mean, like what he does with the performance mode is really cool, and that's a lot of weight. That's kind of, I can do most of the, I don't have the knowledge of the numbers and the experience that he has, so I wouldn't try to do a project like he's doing. But as far as edit, I can read the files. I know exactly what he's doing and how it's done, But as far as translating that into actual how the aircraft's supposed to feel, I'd have no idea. But I mean, I can make this thing fly like a 747, or I can make a 747 fly like this thing. No problem. That's why when I hear people, the 500 horsepower engine and a VL3, I'm like, yeah. And when you hit the throttle, what happens? The engine takes off and you don't. I mean, I put a 350 in a Chevy Nova once too. It was fun for the weekend it lasted. Actually, the airport I think is the one to the right. Or are they both the same? I guess they're both the same.
Well, they're connected. We'll see.
Yeah, it lasted for a whole weekend before it twisted the frame. We were jumping beer cans with it. And that's how I spent my youth.
Oh, it completed.
Oh, coming in right on your tab. Yeah, completed.
All right, here we go.
Playing catch up.
Oh, sorry about that. I pulled it back.
No, not your fault. No, keep going. I'll catch up with you. I'm still trying to help Jeb figure out how to do a little editing, creative editing here. He's wanting to put that belly tank on his. He's never done it. think he's got it now. I mean, to me, somebody could hand me that file, and I wouldn't have any problem looking at my comments and know what they're doing. But not everybody does that kind of creative editing, as you call it.
Yeah, it seems pretty straightforward, though. I mean, I don't know if Sobo was upfront with leaving a lot of comments in their files.
Yeah.
You guys have tons of comments, so it's real easy to follow.
Well, I do. I like, he didn't have any in the default. If you look, he doesn't. He's not, showing. I tend to comment everything. If I make an edit, I'll save the original, which is usually the slash, and then I'll use comments, and I use a semicolon, just to kind of. They have two comment figures, so I use them both. One for just text, and then the other one is where I comment out the original and put my edited line underneath it. But I'll at least comment out the original. I always leave the original, that way if something goes wrong.
Yeah, very smart. That was actually going to be my handle, Tango Uniform, and decided to go with a more politically correct Maple 66. But Tango Uniform is that's maintenance talk for tits up, which is how they, a lot of mechanics will classify an airplane when it comes in rotated. It's Tango Uniform.
Yeah, the files and everything. I mean, they've got more of them, but are real similar to the way they worked in FSX. So I kind of have a little bit of a head start on that. I must not be going fast enough.
I always thought mechanic caught for something coming in busted was foobar.
Yeah, that too. There's some other choice language. I'm sure you can imagine. The guys I hung out with, it was always Tango Uniform for the wing.
That's easier to say on the radio.
Yeah.
Saying something around here, expected to have some beads to throw at them. New Orleans, where I'm at.
Yeah, I'm familiar. I've seen a bead or two. None were ever thrown my way, mind you, but yeah, I've seen some beads distributed.
No wonder I'm not catching up to you again. You know what it is?
Get your laps down?
I keep forgetting to raise my damn flaps.
Yeah, I'm cruising along here, and my ground speed is 81. I'm like, where is he?
Where is he? I'm like, twice the throttle I normally need. Still not catching up. What the hell? Oh, wait a minute. I didn't turn them off. Why should I have to turn them off?
Yeah, Morty, after I got my, which rating was it? Multi-instrument. I decided to treat my instructor and myself to a joyride in the Piper Seminole. We flew from Virginia down to New Orleans, and it was epic. It was epic. I have, good lord, a couple dozen stories out of that one 48-hour time period. It was kind of like Las Vegas movies, just everything that could possibly go wrong did, crazy misadventures, including a transvestite down in the French Quarter at 3 a.m. that my buddy wanted to go duck off into the alleyway. I could go on, but I probably should. It's amazing.
Yep, typical Friday night around here.
Well, I'll tell you a quick one because I'm sure you're familiar since you're from there. I think it's called Big Daddy's or Fat Dad. I think it's Big Daddy's. It's a well-known gentleman's club right in the heart of the French Quarter.
I didn't move down here until after Katrina, and I think that's probably gone.
Okay, it'd be sad if it did. I mean, it's been there for decades and decades. And it's kind of the premier burlesque place there on the Strip, and I had already been working for the airlines and a little bit salty, a lot saltier than this instructor was. The kid was like 23 years old, never been anywhere. So we went into Big Daddy's. They had a 2-drink minimum, which was fine with me. When I was married, I could care less. And as I confessed last night, I've seen enough movies last me a lifetime anyway, so it's just not a big deal. But it was a huge deal for him. And I can't get into the particulars because I know Easy's recording, but we managed to get thrown out of there, and that was stunning. To actually be asked to leave. Well, I was asked to leave. My flight instructor buddy was dragged out by the collar and thrown in the street. And just a quick bird's eye view. Those girls are coming out, and he sees one, and he starts going nuts. He's just like, oh my, she's so hot and all this, and she reminds me of this ex-girlfriend. And next thing I know, he disappears. He's gone. And I'm like, okay, go get after her, brother, whatever. And then about 20, 30 minutes later, there's a tap on my shoulder, and I look up, and there's a big, like 300-pound bouncer is like towering over me. He's like, you gotta go. Excuse me? You gotta go. I'm like, okay. Can I ask you why I have to go? He's like, you're with him, right? And I look around him, and there's my buddy getting dragged out, and the poor girl that was dancing for him is crying, and all the other girls are gathering around her, and I get out, and I'm like, yes sir, I'm leaving right now. So I went right out the door, and as I walk out, he's and I won't say his name, but he's picking himself up off the concrete, and he finally stands up, and he's like, oh man, that was a bunch of BS, I don't even know what happened. I'm like, well, what did they say happened? He's like, well, the girl said she wanted to dance for me, so I said, okay. Okay, all right. And then, she was dancing for me and everything, and then after 5 or 6 or 7 songs, I was like, okay, thank you. And she asked me for like $150. He had no idea you have to pay for that. And he didn't have anything. He was poor, dirt poor. So yeah, we were thrown out of the legendary night spot, Big Daddy's, right in. Was it on Beale? Not Beale. Not what's the main drag there? It's right on that main strip. I can't remember the name of the street.
Bourbon Street.
Bourbon Street. Yes, it was right along Bourbon Street, and it was epic. It was epic. One of these days, when Easy's not recording, I'll tell you some other stories from that.
I've been thrown out of one bar. It was a strip bar, and I forget where we were. We were on the East Coast there after a big storm. Working, I did construction. I did, and went to this bar. Never been there. Big bar. One of the guys I was with, I was not like you. I was just sitting at the bar drinking a beer, and they came and escorted me out. Apparently one of the guys I was with got in a fight. I didn't see any of it. It wasn't epic like your story, just similar.
Now that place is still in business. Thank the Google gods. Google says that they're still on Bourbon Street, and the website, if you're interested in seeing what the place looks like, it's BigDaddy'sNOLA.com. And no, right. I'm not gonna post a link anywhere. You're just gonna have to go find it.
Yeah, I actually work on Bourbon Street. It's just not called Bourbon on the part that I work on. I don't walk down there that often, but I've never noticed it before walking down there.
You know, it's funny that at least the night that I was there, and it was not a busy night. It was right in between. Mardi Gras had been, a couple weeks before that, and the Jazz Festival was a couple weeks after. It was like in that lull in between, but it was still real busy. The first thing you notice when you get to the French Quarter, well, two things. First thing I noticed was, I'm the only one sober here. Everybody's wasted. I mean, everybody is 3 sheets to the wind. And then the second thing you notice is the stink. I mean, it just stinks down there. Everything, every bodily fluid you can imagine, it just smells to high heaven. At least at a certain hour of the evening it does. It was crazy.
Yeah, they've been trying to help with that, but it's just hard.
Yeah, my tour of Bourbon Street was kind of like, as you're walking up the street, it's bar, restaurant, voodoo shop. Bar, restaurant, voodoo shop. What's with all the voodoo? I mean, you walk around in the crowd and, you see these old scraggly-haired dudes, big gnarly sticks all spaced out, and, the crowd parts around them. What is up with all that voodoo stuff?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not. Never been there at night. I've only been around the area at lunchtime, looking for some food.
Well, there's plenty of good food, no doubt. I mean, I've got a belly full of jambalaya and all kinds of good stuff. And then we started hitting the hurricanes, and it was kind of show over, at least for my friend.
Yeah, they got the hurricanes and the hand grenades down there.
That looks like it ought to be an airport to our right. Maybe not.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Or left, up my other right.
Yeah, all these places look like places Carbon would have to land.
This leg would have taken us 2 hours. Wait, there's a hill.
Yeah, the only problem with these beaches is they're too long.
Too easy. Should be able to see how many legs we have. Alright, we're about to land. And we have 2 more. I say we're about to land. We're 20-something miles. About 25 there, so about 20 miles. No, I had to tell it. Well, we're 17 plus 3, yeah, 20 almost exactly. 3.8 past that next marker. Oh, there you go. Oh, good morning. Yeah, to heck with y'all. I'm playing on the beach.
You gonna land one?
it feels like San Lin there behind us is catching up.
Yeah, I wonder if he can see us, or if he's locked up in his own world.
I have to take my pedals apart. See if I can just take the springs out of it.
Yeah, mine's adjustable. It's got a knob and it adjusts the tension. I've got it all the way loose. It's loose to go. And when I got it, man, that thing was all the way tight. It was impossible to use. I don't know why anybody would want it.
I have the same one, probably the Saytech Pro. But yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
same thing. Mine's old, and you'd think it'd get easier, but I don't know. I think it's kind of wearing out to where it sticks, maybe. Dead freeze. Come on, there you go. I'm undone. Yeah, mine's all the way loose and still too stiff, really. I guess the correct solution would be to set up some buttons for rudder trim, but it gets tricky if you don't have any kind of meter or anything to know where you're at. Then you land and your rudder trim's, hard off or something, and you don't know it. You got to reload to reset it. I had one at one time.
Yeah, I find it really tricky to land in a stiff crosswind. I mean, the technique is straightforward enough, and in real airplanes you can feel it all. So it's not a big deal. But with this thing, you just can't tell. You can't really tell where you're at. And then, when you finally let your feet off, I've had the tail whip out about 15, 20 degrees into the wind. So it's difficult. It's one of the quirks of flying the electric airplane.
Yeah. Well, for me, the pressure, it doesn't change. In other words, even if I just want to hold a little bit of left rudder and keep her from, peeling right, like they want to do, right, with the rotors, I have to apply as much pressure as if I were hard left, as much as if I were crabbing, trying to slow down. The tension on mine just doesn't seem to escalate with the pressure, which seems like it would.
Yeah, doing side slips is really funky, and I think it's the engine that
doesn't know how to assess the sideways thrust.
It doesn't know what you're doing.
Well, it's probably still pulling straight forward. It's probably not. Yeah, I don't know. I'm new to the side slipping thing. Not
Oh,
really.
it's awesome. It's awesome in small aircraft. It's a necessary tool. It's something you got to learn how to do and use effectively. But the
That's
idea is, you kick the rudder hard one way, all the way, full deflection, left or right, your choice, opposite aileron, and then pitch to hold airspeed. Because once you cross control the airplane like that, let's say you kick full right rudder and you're using left aileron, keep going in a straight line, you're going to kill your airspeed. And you can stall. If you stall cross control, you're going to spin. There's no question about it. So to avoid all that, once you have the inputs in, you need to drop the nose and control your airspeed with pitch. And that's how it's supposed to work, but it does not work that way. In fact, it doesn't actually work at all. I cannot get these airplanes to slip at all.
You can make them kind of look like they do, I guess, then. But yeah, I mean, it's got to slow you down with all that extra drag you're throwing out. I think that's our airport there. 1 o'clock. Other side of this point.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see it then.
I think.
I think Morty just called his own field down here, which looks really good.
Actually, is that? Yeah, I guess that's about right. It's somewhere right in there. Oh, no, that's not it. Cancel that, abort. Looks like one. Yeah, we got a little bit of a water cross here, 3.8 miles. Okay, well it's still at your 1 o'clock. Just on the other side of this inlet. Looking at my specs right there, yeah, they may have done a little bit. Seems like I'm not hitting the CPU as hard as I was. It's my GPU that usually caps out though.
Yeah, true enough. Right now I'm running 23% on the CPU and 66 on the GPU.
So far off track here. We should be seeing an airport, but I'm going the wrong way. There it is.
I'll take the left side.
I'll try and stay on my lane. Yeah, this is a nice casual little flight, but there's a lot of little airports they could have stopped at as well as these.
500.
like you say, I think this was as much just showing the scenery.
Formation landing, nice.
I can never make heads or tails. Okay, I guess this is a, I don't know if they're talking about the last one or the next one. Here's the next one. I don't know. 6.2 miles. I think that's to the first waypoint though. That's what's weird. Okay. Flaps up. Not doing that a third time. Alright, I'm ready when you are.
Go ahead, sir.
This time I have my flaps up, so maybe I won't do 80 knots. Cool looking legs. Those have some nice coloring to them. Some of them we've seen are kind of odd looking, but these are nice.
Yeah, these are pretty cool.
Still don't see any roads around here. Like, you know, ever since you said that, I've been kind of keeping my eye out, and you're right.
Yeah, the only one I can remember seeing is at that first airport when we take off.
Well, let me look at there should be a highway that runs all the way out through here. I mean, I thought it was connected, but I could be wrong.
Well, I take that back. There was that dirt road that I thought was at that airport, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess there was a road right there. good sized legs coming out. Lower Ugashik.
I saw more to go up, but I didn't see him come back out.
Yeah, let me hit auto. I got a blank on it. What is it when numbers are successive, one after the other? What do you call that? In order?
Consecutive?
Consecutive, thank you.
Sequential?
That's it.
Sure, I spelled that one wrong. He's wanting a... scared me. I'm not even. I'm barely watching here. I'm over here copying and.
Yeah, he's doing a victory roll because he smoked both of us in one shot. That was a nice loop. I thought for sure you were going to fall out of the top of it, but you held right on.
I've been on auto. Okay, we're coming over to. I guess both of these big lakes here is actually lower Ugashik. That's what it's called.
I love fishing, but I don't eat them. I don't like eating fish at all. I got to think the fishing in here has got to be spectacular.
Oh, I imagine. I'm not even sure what you would catch. These are landlocked, but I mean they're still, most of your island lakes tend to be brackish, But on the other hand, there are some mountains around this terrain, so I couldn't say. Posted it. Oh, nice! You got a picture of us going in there. He posted that nose wheel, the Inux Cub. Nah, somebody that's really good at modding could make me one of those.
I got mixed feelings about it. I can see the practicality, but I mean the whole point of it is, it's
kind of different. Yeah, it's almost a step backward for the default Cub. I'll give you that for what it excels at, right? But I don't know. I saw one video. They were, who was it? Patty? No, it wasn't Patty. It was the Trent Palmer. Got to fly one, and I mean they were taking off and landing, and just like nothing in that thing.
I don't know, man. I'm a little bit leery about the prop clearance. It's going to be closer, tip is going to be closer to the ground, and super leery of landing on anything chunky with that nose wheel. I just see it snapping off.
Yeah. I mean, there is no doubt, rough landings, tail draggers rule. They just, I think I might have made too many comments for Jeb. I think I confused him. Because I have a lot of lines, like different lines for payload and passenger. If I put the back seat tank in, then I comment out the line for the passenger. So I have duplicate lines for that, things like that.
Yeah, I can see where he might be. Well, which line, dude?
Yeah, which line? Where does that go in mine? I mean, the first thing he did is so I copy that line into mine and then comment it. And what he was I told him, that just he was like, well, what if I want that to be cargo? The extra fuel tank. I'm like, just set it to 0 fuel. And he's like, no, what if I wanted to get rid of it? I'm like, well, comment it out. He didn't realize all those comments were comments, I think was the issue. I'm sure Jeb's gonna get this. Yeah, that's the one thing I wish they'd get in little nav map would be other players. If we could see other players, that would be the one-stop shop for everything for me.
That'd be pretty sweet. Use it like a poor man's TCAS.
Well, I mean, it's, it does a lot as far as info I need. It'll give you anything from ILS, frequencies to spark parking spots and actual taxiway designations. But like there was a big debate and discussion about how the game isn't real life taxiways and everything aren't named correctly. Well, I don't know, but little nav map just gives you what's in game. So for me, that's great. It wouldn't work for somebody doing the VAT sim or something. That's the only thing I wished we could do, like in our flights, is see other players on a map somewhere. And right now, the only way to do that is with some kind of outside program, like flight events or something.
Or be at the main menu.
Or be at the main menu, yeah. Good point. But yeah. I already use little nav maps. That'd be nice. Bechoroff Lake, B-E-C-H. Bechoroff or Becheroff? I'm not gonna bet your which. You can't be landing on places like that with that cruiser, that sedan. Morty over there abusing his sedan.
Hey, if you break it, you buy it, pal.
Just getting my bush landing practice in.
get the cargo to take a snapshot of mine. He still hasn't managed to get that cargo pod working.
Oh man.
I keep trying to tell him just replace yours with mine, and you'll have the cargo pod and the belly tank, which comes with the cargo pod. It's part of it, right? But the downside of that is I do add what is it, 30-something pounds. Yeah, it's 34 pounds for the tank. I added to the empty weight plus 10 pounds for the difference in the engine. The 215 engine is 10 pounds heavier. I'm thinking he doesn't want that, he wants... So yeah, I've increased the empty weight 44 pounds. Just makes sense. If you're going to add something, you ought to add the weight to it.
Yeah, that's only fair.
44 pounds is nothing in this thing. It still has more cargo capacity than the 4-seat Cessnas. Or at least the 172. I don't even know. Yeah, probably the 182 as well, I guess.
I think Morty's out looking high and low for some caribou woman to get back and hook up with him.
Yeah, he's got to get him some dinner for that camping he'll do later. He'll pinch his tent somewhere.
Make some jerky out of something.
He doesn't have a hill to sit on tonight, though. Have to camp in the lowlands. unless the terrain changes. It doesn't look like it is. We're going to veer a little to the left, cross back over this island. That's where our next leg is. Is that our, yeah. Wow. Okay, I might have missed that one too. Yeah, we still have two more after this one. I missed one. When I was counting them.
Just remember, Morty, you hang out with one of those girls, you marry them, you marry the whole family.
Uh-oh. Somebody must have paused. And good, Jeb finally figured it out. He missed a comma.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Punctuation is extremely important in scripting. Which is kind of funny, he missed a comma because I literally gave him the line to use. All he had to do was copy and paste it. He must have typed it in or something. Yeah, it's I like helping people tweak their stuff, and it's great fun. People get into it, but it's almost like leading you down a rabbit hole. Because once you start tweaking them, next thing you know, everything needs to be tweaked and touched up. Just like his performance mod. I mean, it's great as is. I should probably not even mess with it, but I always have to put my own little touch on it. Like he quit using the fuel tank because we didn't need it, but I liked it because I didn't have to worry about swapping fuel so often, or almost never. So I looked around and found that one I liked.
Ethan, what do you think it's going to take to put one of these airplanes on floats? Is that a limitation of the SAM, or do you think it can be done?
To put them on what?
To get one of these X-Cubs on floats.
Oh, well, I could do it, other than the model itself. I mean, I can make this thing land on the water and sit up flat, in a matter of minutes. But I mean, I even tested some stuff where I was like making the front wheels water landable, but not the tail, hoping we could skim. And it kind of worked, but there was no wake or anything, so there's no real point. You could get that, but it's like a hard stop at the water. I mean, it's like hitting concrete. It's not like, with your front two, but you can't let your back wheel hit or black screen. But yeah, if we had FX, I could effectively make it so you could skim, although it wouldn't be realistic as far as flying. You just hit the water like you're landing and sit there, keep your tail up, and you'd be skimming. It'd look good.
It'd be cool if you could have the wheels throw out some particle effects.
Well, if they ever go, it would. It certainly would. In other words, I just borrowed some of the code, script, whatever, from the icon, and just added that, duplicated the front wheels and added that water thing, and then adjusted it, up and down until it would do both the runway and the water. If you do it with all three wheels, then it's a water plane. Now the only other thing you'd have to do is change the angle that it sits at parked. Because if you say had, it depends on whether you were making a float-only plane or one that would land on both with retractable gear or whatever. You'd have to have it sitting flat, which is easy to, again, that's just a number. I even know where it's at. In other words, I could make it land and sit up, it would look funny because the tail would be a foot, 2 foot off the ground, but I could change one number and it would never tail down. Our airport coming up. But what I've never done is any of the modeling. I mean, I've never used a modeling program to speak of. So to make the aircraft look like it has floats, that's well beyond me. I mean, I've used modeling programs a couple of times doing specific things with specific instructions, but I have no idea how to use them. Yeah, we should be.
We're going to overfly midfield and aircraft circle around.
Yeah, I was looking further ahead. But yeah, it's just like the big boy tires. And I wish we'd get those. I mean, again, and I'm sure Carbon will do it. They'll probably have means to get the tires and raise it up, because that's going to make your view, in park position a little worse. It's going to raise the front of the aircraft up, and again, that's pretty easy to do. Just to adjust the contact points in the flight model. Chicken. Yeah, I'd love to have a float version, or what is it called when they can land on water and airports? That's what I'd like to have.
Amphibian?
Yeah. That would be cool. Yeah, an amphib and some bigger tires on the default would be cool. I'd like to have a slightly bigger tail wheel, or wider, model, whatever, as well. But like I say, that's in the modeling, and they've done a lot to make that even more difficult. Actually, I don't know if they have or not. Even in FSX, I never got into the modeling end of it. The other one's not too far away. Of course, we're headed the wrong way. There we go. Alright. Well.
I love this airplane. And a 180-degree turn in less than 1,500 feet. Sweet.
Yeah, it is. When I first saw it, well, I've actually watched this airplane for quite a few years. I mean, I've always loved the, ultralights, and they had an ultralight version from way back. It actually started around this engine, their own converted, basically a converted 350 car engine that a machine shop local there to the Cub Crafters was building. And it was only, so they only sold two models. They sold the ultralight model with the Rotax, and then an experimental model with that big 350. I kind of, I was actually more at the time interested in the ultralight, just looking at it, and then, the game came out, and apparently they partnered with Lycoming to get the 180 in there. And I'm guessing, just off the top of my head, that was probably just to fast track the Bar 23 certification. Because you can still get the option in this, but I'm pretty sure, I'm guessing it may very well make it an experimental, not that too many people would care about. I know they work on a completely different set of rules. I don't know exactly what all the differences are.
I think it's pretty much anything goes. From what I can
Well,
see.
I do know a few things about them because they apply as well to the ultralights and or kind of overlapped. But I do know if they build 50% or more of the aircraft, this is all, I read a paperwork from the FAA, and they describe it in 32 pages in very good detail, most of which I had no clue what they were talking about. But
yeah, and probably could have been said in 2 paragraphs.
Yeah, exactly. But if you build more than 50% of it, in other words, if you assemble it and put the engine on and all that out of like a quick build kit or better, or more, then you can actually do your own mechanic work, and it's still certifiable as an experimental, of course. So you don't actually have to even pay a aircraft mechanic to do anything but the certifications. I guess I don't know how those would work, to be honest. But I mean, the main difference, as far as my understanding, is you can't use them for any kind of commercial. Training or anything, as far as I know, they're not allowed.
I'm sure if I was looking at the POIs, I would be able to answer my own question, but I wonder what this place is.
POIs don't tell you any. Oh, you mean the text, maybe? Let's see. Alright, how much POI are we at?
Disregard. I thought it looked like there was a little town or a settlement here, but it's just more.
I'm sure there is.
Salt flats and stuff.
I don't think I'm on the right. I need street maps.
Oh wait, no, right where I'm making the turn, there's a little settlement right below me. You're right with me, so it's going to be under 6 o'clock in a second.
I'm missing the turn. yeah, I saw the settlement. I'm actually over here trying to find a map that has names or whatever, and I can't. Nothing's here. Google, everybody is pretty blank in this area. There's like white shading that I might even be. But yeah, there's some kind of city or something there.
I couldn't see an airstrip, and that's unusual. Maybe because we're right on the water, they do like transportation. So you'd think there'd be a little field right next to it.
Yeah, I don't. I'd have to go to. That's what you're doing. Back to my map. Probably have to go to like Google Maps to see anything. Everything I have seems to be. Maybe I don't have the maps in. I did update little nav map. Got all the list. Some things. Okay, those were. Egik, Egik. That was the name of that area.
Well, it's easier for you to say.
If you say so. Yeah, the maps weren't loading right. King Salmon. Yeah, see, we're going right over to smaller airports to land at a big international. Kavachak Bay to our left. KVI. That's where I said it. I'm guessing that is a street. Maybe, yeah, I thought that somewhere along here they should pick up like a. Oh heck, we're at the mainland at this point. The other side of that bay is the mainland.
Huh,
We are actually over part of the mainland. That what we are on is tied to the mainland and have been for quite some time. Yeah, I can't imagine there's no roads down through this. Road builders are pretty ingenious. It may not seem possible to us, but yeah, here's another one. We'll see if they, what it looks like. The last one isn't a real, I mean, we're coming into an international airport next. Like I say, we're skipping over 2 small ones, and then we'll land at an international. And then we'll have another little trip to a rather small one. It's 4368. But it's a lake, Kulik Lake. So I'm betting that one's going to be a nice, yeah, it's sitting in between 2 lakes with a lodge not far away, according to Google. So I'm wondering if that's touched up.
I'm looking on Google Maps, and I see Kulik Lake, and just west of it is Nunvianuk Lake, and there's a little strip of land right in between them.
That's
and
where
the airport.
Yeah, that's where the airport is at. Honeycomb stick and throttle for Xbox.
That'll be good, though. That'll be good for those guys.
That's wow. Well, I guess that came out of the. I saw the partnership announcement for Honeycomb. But yeah, Hutch in general has some pictures of it. It's a little flat thing. Dang. I'd love to have that for me. And it even comes with a desk clamp. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people. I've heard a lot of people. Oh, you know, don't want the Xbox players. You know what? What's good for the game is good for me.
I think my only complaint is, and it's just a personal thing, is that third picture. It's ass backwards.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
I want to have the throttles on the left.
Oh wow, and it's
right.
a solid base there. Well, no, they're separated on the desk drop, the desk clamp they have there. So
oh yeah, I see that.
So apparently you can't. Yeah, that'd be a showstopper for me. Yeah. Well, no, really. I mean, I've actually tried to fly that, and I can fly left-handed, but I wouldn't want to try landing in a crosswind.
Yeah, with your arms already crossed over.
Right. Turn left when I'm supposed to turn right. Done deal. I am by no means ambidextrous either, but it's not too much different from when I use the yoke, so. Which for some reason I can do pretty good flying with my left hand with my yoke, or could, but back when. I would set the ILS, but it takes me about two to 5 minutes to remember how every time. See if I can figure it out. 110.3. Okay. Here's the chick. Which one is it? Oh, okay. That's what I'm doing. What heading is it? Figured out how to adjust it, but goodness knows what else I adjusted.
I have no idea how to even set up an ILS approach one of these days.
It can be done. It's less than intuitive. Like it doesn't have a second actual second nav channel. There is no swap button or anything like that. You punch in the number you want, hit transfer, and it automatically sets you number one. And then to adjust the dial, it's the right little one that's like coarse normally. So the only way you can adjust the dial is if you have, let me make sure I'm saying it right. So if you have the VOR in question, in my case VOR1, has to be active, and then in full screen, the course button changes your CDI or whatever you call it for the VOR. If that made any sense. It took me a long time. I mean, I can do it in like the Cessna, but it took me forever to figure this out. Jeez. Telling I'm gonna get anything. We are now 13.7 miles. I'm kinda gonna go straight, see if I can pick up that ILS. I think I'd be getting it, but I guess the localizer is aimed. What I'm on. Hell, I don't know. I haven't tried it since the patch. It may not even work. I just, for one thing, the reason I double check my number is I normally when you dial it in, even before you can pick it up, it says localizer when you go through. Maybe I didn't scroll through.
500.
No.
500.
I'm pretty sure before it was telling me it was, it was calling it automatically calling it localizer when you dialed in the right number. Now I'm just still getting nav1 with no data. I did hear on Reddit that the VORs were off by some amount. Heck, for me, it's just too much hassle to set it up on that glass. Jeez. I'm a big fan of buttons rather than knobs. Yeah, I like them in my car too. You can find those in the dark half drunk. Getting a little low here. Yeah, either I did something wrong. Where do I... Wait. Is there something about... No, and that's where you change it. CDI source, VOR1. Check normal. Ah, I just picked it up. There we go. Took me a while to find the vertical on them too. There's a little bitty dot right beside the elevation. Not sure what you even call the vertical line. Yeah, it took me 2 months and 10 questions on in several forums to finally figure out how to adjust all the knobs. They used to be the best thing I used to do in FSX was radio nav.
Well, I'm headed direct to the big airport. I'm assuming that's where we're going.
Yeah,
Last time I looked here at my 9 o'clock. So you're on the ILS. It's all active right now.
Yep. Well, I'm not on it, but yeah, I haven't. I'm picking it up. Angling to hit it here any minute. I don't know. Here's one for you. I wonder, because that thing, the little nav map gives me magnetic, and I'm wondering if these digital things do. I'm betting not, so I probably don't have exactly the right runway heading. No idea what the deviation.
Well, the runways are always magnetic. They're never true.
Right, but is that what my instrument down there, my card compass is showing?
It should.
Sure looks like it. Put me dead on it. Sparkling dead center. Of course, I'm low on the vertical bar there, but it doesn't have a bar, like I said. It just has a small dot next to the altimeter. A scrolling, scroll bar next to the altimeter inside of it. That could be a little bigger. Now I'm on LLS glide slope.
You know, I kind of miss seeing Minnesota sitting at the end of the 7th.
That's so cool. I mean, I know it may bother some people because, and to me it's just neat. I think it's... Yeah, I'll tell you how about it. I was wanting to figure out that radio, I was reading, real life Garmin manuals and watching their videos on how to use it. And I was like, somewhere they gotta tell me how to tune the nav radio. Alright, now we're on the very last one. And it's not real long, 30-40 miles. I'm sure there's something else I've forgotten, but here we go. I think the waypoints are gonna zigzag us around here a little bit. Nalnick Lake, Naknek.
Who's there? Here's a little dirt strip just off the right.
Oh wow, yeah.
Very nice.
Sure is too. Is it?
Two runways.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I see it here, but it's nothing on Google about it either. No name or anything. And you can see it on the map, but, or little nav map.
I think Morty ran away with the caribou because we haven't heard from him in quite a while.
Yeah. I think he's over there eating our caribou and not talking.
You guys finished the boost trip yet?
Almost. We're right there.
I was just saying, you must have run off with a caribou woman, because we hadn't heard from you.
Actually, I was in a rush to land, and I wing tipped over, turning too hard, so I'd missed trees. That wing tip caught the ground at that airport I was flying into, in front of y'all.
Yeah, I've never done that.
Looks like we're taking a tour of these lakes to the final airport. We're like going from one to another with like 8 little POIs in between. Hollering 500 at me, Lola.
It's funny, when I watch the missionary pilot videos, he calls her Betty.
Betty.
Yeah, which is cool. And it's funny because he's, missionary pilot. I'm guessing he's fairly has some strong religious views, right? The actual name when that kind of automation came out was Bitchin' Betty. Because he's always bitching at you.
Yeah.
He just calls her Betty. I just find that very humorous. Every time he says it, I holler at the computer screen, "No, it's Bitchin' Betty. Come on, man."
I think that might have been a slang of bouncing Betty.
Yeah, I bet you're right.
I don't know. Isn't that like a famous slogan for World War II aircraft or something? I guess we're going over the hill there. Pretty certain I've seen pictures of bouncing Betty on World War II aircraft. Easily right beside the picture of the interior with the pinup girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. They got all the POIs marked and named here, but even in little nav map, they're not. See, they're not actually in the route, just in the menu.
Oh, Believe it or not, there's. Oh, I need to climb. Stand by.
Do I need to slow down?
Yeah, I just realized my autopilot disconnect button on the throttle makes a sound, but it doesn't actually disconnect the autopilot, so I have to click on it. Which is kind of a pain, especially when seconds count, like right now. But anyways, I typed in bitching Betty in Google, and there's actually a Wikipedia page on the whole thing.
Oh, wow.
So the first line is, bitching Betty is a slang term used by pilots and aircrew, mainly North American, when referring to the voices used by some aircraft warning systems. The enunciating voice in at least some aircraft systems may be either male or female, and in some cases, this may be selected according to pilot preference. If the voice is female, it may be referred to as bitching Betty. If the voice is male, it may be referred to as barking Bob. Now, I've never heard barking Bob.
I haven't either.
So there you go. It's official. If it's in Wikipedia, it's
yeah. Alright, well, let's try bouncing Betty.
Oh yeah, bouncing Betty was
a bomb.
Yeah, it was a little landmine, like anti-personnel device that would pop out of the ground and explode right about the level of your nuts.
Yeah, I guess that is. I've got all these light model files and
Oh my gosh, the Wikipedia page is very thorough in its coverage of the subject. It actually has the names of all of the women the actual names of the women who recorded their voices for these different airplanes. So Kim Crow was the first voice to be digitized, and she appeared on several early airplanes and space capsules. Joan Elms, also known as Sexy Sally, she was on the B-58 Hustler on the magnetic tape-based warning system. Erica Lane is in the F-16 and the Apache. Sue Milne is on the Eurofighter Typhoon. Leslie Shook is in the FA-18. And Patricia Hoyt was used in the Boeing 717 and the Boeing C-17. So now you know.
That's pretty wild. I guess they were celebrities as much as pinup girls, or you know. Made history by doing voiceovers. And this is Corville Lake. little dog leg. We'll have made it to the end of this 740 mile.
Had a good ride, man. I had fun.
Yeah. It's still, I mean, every time like this range looks weird compared to even the ones we've seen. Yeah, it's been nice scenery.
All right, who's ready to start over with me?
Oh, hey, I'm up for it. Absolutely. I'll do this again in a heartbeat. It was really nice.
Heck, I would too. Might have to change my aircraft. Do something that'll do similar. It's almost hard for me to change up aircraft anymore.
Yeah, this one is so sweet handling.
Yeah.
It makes everything else pale in comparison. No, I mean I still dig the Savage Cub. That's fun to fly because it's real basic, no FMS. You know, it's fun doing those, but this airplane really just is it's crazy.
It's fun on little short things. It's fun to play around. But yeah, 750 miles in a Cub. That would be a tiring trip. Well, I guess not really. I don't know about you, but I've hand flown the good majority of this, I would think. I mean, I did autopilot here and there some, so.
Yeah, I got a little bit lazy on the last couple legs here, but I had flew probably 80%.
Yeah.
And I didn't mind at all. I mean, there's lots to look at.
Yeah, I would say I'm hand flying right now. But yeah, I would say, I mean, I think I'm being very liberal or very easy on it, saying 50%. I'm guessing it's more than that, but. I mean, that's one thing I like about flying this. I can actually trim it out, you know, fly it hands-free for several moments at a time.
Oh, I did that last night, going out to talk to the wife or go take a leak or something, grab a beer out of the fridge, and be gone for 3 or 4 minutes and it'd still be flying along. No problem.
Yeah. Might veer a little bit depending on the wind, but you can trim this thing out pretty good. The Cub, you can, but it still seems like it'll wander on you pretty quickly.
But it's real sensitive too, really sensitive.
Yeah. But just the speed would deter me from 740-mile bush trip.
Oh, and the Savage Cub, that'd take days. Days.
Come on, let's do it in the Shock Ultra.
We'll be done the around the world trip before you can do it.
Yeah, we'll still be coming back to it. And that lake ahead of us. It's actually the middle lake part is where we're landing. That's the finish line.
Well, you can tell they put a little extra effort into this scenery because all the trees look great. You know, there's a lot of fine texture here.
Yeah. Well, then they might have a lot of aerial photography to go off of. You know, all our jets flying over to patrol the borders. Actually, I doubt they can come out here. No idea, to be honest.
Well, fun fact for you: most people are well aware that Pearl Harbor was bombed by the Japanese, right? And it was monumental day in American history. But a lot of folks don't know that Dutch Harbor here in Alaska was bombed by the Japanese also. There weren't all that many attacks on the American mainland. That was one of them.
Yeah. I did not know that.
I couldn't tell you when Alaska became a state. I think it was in the 50s. So at the time, this was a territory. But just the same, it was pretty close to home.
Yeah, there were the balloon bombs that they managed to get to the mainland.
Terrifying to think about.
I would love Alaska if it weren't so dang cold. Not bad out here right now, though, I guess.
Well, days are getting shorter and the nights are getting longer. I bet it's fairly chilly in the evenings. A buddy of mine, when early in his career, was an Alaskan bush pilot, flying stuff around. I need to get back in touch with him. It's been a couple of years. But he was the one who actually, told me all about the caribou women and all that stuff. But very, very interesting time that he had out this way. The flying is definitely unique. You can't duplicate this anywhere on the planet.
Yeah, the more the merrier.
those mounts are just spectacular.
Yeah, yeah. We did see one glitch, didn't we, or did we not? So, no, that was in Papua. That was me. Yeah, I don't. That's why I was wondering. We didn't see any glitches in the train anywhere, did we?
I saw a little bit of slow loading, and maybe that was just a little bit of lag on the server. I had stuff as I was flying over it, with,
Yeah,
spawning trees and different things, but I didn't see any mistakes at all.
yeah. No cones in the middle of mountains or anything.
Now, the only wonky thing that I've noticed on this one, and it's persistent throughout the entire world, is when we took off out of that first airport, there was a hill, a sharp hill to our right, and there was a road winding along the side of it. It just looks bizarre.
Yeah.
It's not level. They just paint a road on the side of the hill, and it looks really weird. That's the only thing I saw that looked strange.
Yeah.
I think one of these little outlets here, or inlets, I'm sorry, where we're flying over now, this would be perfect to build yourself a big old log cabin and throw a float plane out on the dock. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, really, that's a float plane is the way to go in real bush. Canada or Alaska here, either one. They got one thing: lots of lakes. Not so many open fields. Actually, I guess we've flown over quite a few.
I put down in a few of them.
Yeah, yeah.
I think in real life I'd be afraid that everything would be nice and smooth and easy, except that I would hit the one rock in the middle of the field.
Or find the one big pothole, yeah.
Definitely. This is a very nice end. I can see how they scripted this out. You're flying right out in the mountains. It's really panoramic. It's almost like a movie.
It is, actually. That's it. And with the lake continuing on, like, begging you to continue, urging you to go on. I'll be surprised well, you won't actually see this airport, will you? As soon as we come to a stop, it'll end.
Sure here. I hardly noticed. I was so busy enjoying everything, I didn't even see the airport.
Alright, try and land without crashing. Yeah. Yeah, not much on this airport, but like I said, you kind of go right to the end when you get there. So.
It's almost too convenient that they made it just about straight in,
Yeah.
Come around and work for it a little bit on that last leg.
Well, technically we landed downwind, I think, but well.
Yeah, that's true. Got 2 dots on the tail. Not much to the field. I see a shack. That's about it.
Yeah, I didn't expect. Yeah, I was kind of thinking maybe they would have that one, prettied up too. But on the other hand, most people are going to land and,